Time being 7:30, I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of supervisors.
There are 20 supervisors present. Supervisors Garcia, Grady, and Robinson are excused.
Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens wishing to speak? Please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And you will have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you. My name is Nancy Washburn. My address is 7450 County Line Road in the village of Mount Pleasant. Board of Supervisors, tonight I'm very happy to be here and appreciate your listening to me tonight. I feel that I'm uniquely qualified to speak tonight regarding the resolution before you later on regarding the Pike River restoration. Number one, I'm a village trustee in the village of Mount Pleasant, serving my second term, going into my third next year. I also am a resident whose family land is now part of the Pike River watershed in Area 9, 20 acres having been part of that watershed restoration. And because our home is located there, I'm an abutting property owner to the Pike River. I get to see all of the activity, the bicyclists, the walkers, and all of the activities that go on along that watershed. The village of Mount Pleasant has enjoyed the benefits of the project, the project that was done on the lands in Mount Pleasant. We've won national awards for restoration. We've engaged the community in seed harvests and tours and family events. We have seen property values along the Pike River watershed significantly increase. And we also have seen the Pike River watershed be a wonderful generator of revenue for the village. Our planners, our community planners, have made sure and made great use of our parks and open space plan in integrating paths and trails along the Pike River, along with our park system, so that now those trails integrate and flow through various park areas where we have facilities that are for rent, and the people, those properties continue to be rented fully throughout the summer by people who enjoy being right there on the Pike River and use those venues in order to enjoy it. Most importantly, though, the real purpose of the restoration has been to see the return of the sandhill cranes. We've had ospreys nesting in the northern sections of the Pike River, and the fish have returned. The northern pike has returned to the river. Very simply, I encourage you to vote in favor of this resolution to support the final leg of the Pike River Restoration Project, to protect Lake Michigan and finish the job that Mount Pleasant started. I know you won't regret it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Skalbeck. I live at 11212 86th Street in Pleasant Prairie. I'm a professor of geoscience at the University of Wisconsin Parkside. I've dedicated my 40-year career to learning about and advocating for our shared water resources. Rarely have I encountered a project of the scope of the Pike River South Branch that has the cooperative support from federal to local agencies, along with nonprofit and private advocates. A fundamental lesson I impart on Parkside students and community members is all water is connected, and that an action on one part of a water cycle has an impact on other parts. Restoring the place of the pike in Kenosha will generate a positive impact throughout the Great Lakes watershed and beyond. Rivers are born to meander as they seek to efficiently work on shaping their landscape. Our past land use practices were often at odds with this natural process, and thus we developed engineering systems to change the river course. Our collective experience during the past century has taught us to follow the lessons of Mother Nature. I am grateful this community has acted upon this critical lesson. I commend all who have dedicated countless hours and committed essential resources to identify the need to act and to design a solution that will restore this natural member of our community, the Pike River South Branch. As a resident of Kenosha County, I pledge my personal support for this project. As a representative of the University of Wisconsin, I pledge my professional support for this project. Along with my colleague Phil Hirsch, Vice Chancellor of Finance and Administration, we convey the institutional support on behalf of the University of Wisconsin Parkside. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
My name is Phil Hirsch, 900 Wood Road in Kenosha. I am Phil Hirsch, Vice Chancellor of Finance and Administration at UW Parkside, speaking on behalf of our Chancellor, Lynn Akey, who is unable to be here tonight. UW Parkside fully supports the Pike River South Branch Restoration Project. We've seen firsthand the power of ecological restoration through our own work with Root Pike Watershed Initiative, and we know this initiative will have a long-lasting impact on our environment and our community. This project is more than about improving water quality. It's about sustainability, resilience, and enhancing the natural beauty of Kenosha. Restoring the South Branch will reduce stormwater impacts and improve biodiversity, provide hands-on research opportunities for our students, preparing the next generation of environmental leaders, and create spaces for recreation, learning, and community engagement. On behalf of Chancellor Akey and UW Parkside, I urge your support for this project. It's an investment in our environment, our students, and our community's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
TJ Levesque, 1904 30th Street. Good evening. I am the Executive Director at Hawthorne Hollow Nature Sanctuary in Arboretum. We are located in Summers on the South Branch of the Pike River, just downstream from the South Branch Pike River Restoration Project. And we fully support this initiative, specifically the inclusion of the stormwater infiltrating wetlands, which is essential to the health of our downstream environment. Since wetlands store stormwater, the project will reduce erosion events, stabilize the river's flow, and protect the riverbanks, ensuring long-term health of the Pike River. So we have actually seen these benefits firsthand at Hawthorne Hollow in our own wetland restoration project. The retention of water on our site has annually saved 76 tons of soil per year from being, flushed into the Pike River and down into Lake Michigan. Also, restoring wetlands will support habitat regeneration, strengthening the South Branch Environmental Corridor, which will provide critical habitat for a variety of plant and animal species. On behalf of the High Slough Foundation, the Friends of Hawthorne Hollow, our many volunteers and staff, we strongly urge the Kenosha County Board of Supervisors to approve this project. Your support will positively impact our community and the Pike River for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to speak to you today. My name is Monty Osterman. I'm at 2900 North Wisconsin Street in Racine. I have the great privilege to serve as the Racine County Chairman of the Land and Water Conservation Committee, also as the Vice Chairman of our Wisconsin State Land and Water Board and Board Chair of the association, which represents all 72 counties. Those duties, I represent Wisconsin on the Board of Directors of the National Association of Conservation Districts and serve as the National Outreach Chairman for that organization. We represent 3,000 conservation districts across the country and territories, as well as 17,000 professionals and elected officials such as yourselves. I give you that information so that you know the perspective from which I bring my comments. What you have in front of you with the Pike River project is an unprecedented opportunity. I want to congratulate you all for considering it, and commend you for being part of the collaboration with the agencies, the foundations, the environmental nonprofits, everybody that's been involved. And there have been sound ideas come out of that collaboration, coupled with the good judgment from this body. It's produced a spectacular plan. You can all be proud of it. And we're very happy to advocate for this project, which will be on national display this summer. Parts of this project, along with some of the affected watershed areas, will be part of tours from the National Association of Conservation Districts annual meeting, which, after many years of hard work, we've been able to bring to Wisconsin the end of July. So you're going to have the top policymakers, the very best and brightest minds in the world of conservation, land and water resource management, right here, right in your county. And they're going to be looking at parts of this project and the affected watershed areas. You've heard what the benefits of the project are. And so I'm going to skip past that, but I want to point out three things: water quality, human health, and economic impact cannot be overlooked and cannot be overstated with a project of this magnitude. So I'm here to tell you on behalf of Wisconsin Land and Water, statewide organization and a national organization, how important this project is, what a big deal it is, and again, to congratulate you on taking the time and having the opportunity to participate in this, and we hope that you approve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Gregory Eugene, and I live in 6120 10th Street, Somers, Wisconsin. And the Pike River is a part of my backyard, and I like to fish pretty often. And only time I can catch fish in there is in the spring and in the fall when the stocked fish from the lake swim up the river. And even then, if it rains too much, I can't even hardly fish because the river flows way too fast. Also, like the previous guy said, it takes a lot of soil from other people's yards, and including my yard. So it increases the size of the river, and I don't even know if it'll be able to hold fish eventually if it doesn't get fixed, and I won't be able to fish it anymore either. So there's already not that many water areas to fish around this area other than Lake Michigan, and you need a boat to fish there. If that river was restored, it can hold bigger fish that's from Lake Michigan in there, and a lot of different people could come and fish that. Also gives me other people to fish with, so I'm not just fishing alone too. So
Thank you.
My name is Merrill Eugene. I too live at 6120 10th Street in Kenosha, or Somers. As my son stated, the river flows in our backyard, and and someone else already stated how much of an attraction the river is in other natural areas that we share in Kenosha County, how beneficial they are. And they attracted my family. My family and I moved from Chicago to here, and we made a huge investment. But what we didn't know of the river when we made that investment was the water quality, was terrible, in that the Pike River watershed needed restoration. The more we learned, the more we realized a lot of work is needed. And someone already mentioned it. This is an excellent opportunity, and it's one that can bear your name in history. So it's a legacy opportunity that I'm honored to be in front of you to ask your support for approving it. At the end of the day, not only does it bode well for your legacy, I think in the future, this is something our county, the residents, are really going to take advantage of and enjoy. And another point that's already been brought up, from an economic standpoint, you've got people like me who are looking for a spot with nature to enjoy. And we were fortunate enough to seize a spot. Albeit the river needs some attention, and this is where you come in, to be able to help us. We can make it better, and I think this body here is the body to make it happen this year. So I'm in huge favor of it, and I'm asking for your help in making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Greg Thompson, 221 13th Avenue, Summers. I'm here to represent over 350 members of Kenosha Country Club. Our course has been recognized nationally by the Donald Ross Society and was recently the host of the 2024 U.S. Hickory Open, which attracted 128 players from over 6 countries and 30-plus states. We have a historic gem at Kenosha Country Club because it's a 1922 original Donald Ross design, and it's one of the few original designs that has not been altered or changed. So it's somewhat of a museum and getting more and more recognition nationally as we've undertaken a major restoration of the course. Over the last 10 years, millions of dollars have been invested in the restoration of the course and also in the erosion issues that we've had in the Pike River that flows through the course. Over the last 20 years, we've observed significant erosion of the riverbanks and widening of the river and loss of land, and a reduction in water quality, and as so well put by these gentlemen, the fishing quality for the river. I'm also a fisherman, and we have quite a few fishermen and women that we host, and they can come as they want and fish the Pike River throughout the golf course. This asset, this river asset that we have in Kenosha County and in Racine County, has been deteriorating for many years, and this is a wonderful opportunity, and I thank all of you for considering this tonight. It's probably one of the greatest opportunities we have to pool federal, private, and local funds to get this project, this first phase of the project done. An outstanding example, of course, is what was done in Petrifying Springs Park, which I'm sure you've probably all seen how well that turned out. This Phase 1 project will make future stages possible that will reduce stormwater and velocity, which will reduce erosion and improve water quality. I'd like to close with just reading the letter from our president, Mike Burke. Dear members of the County Board of Supervisors, writing on behalf of the Kenosha Country Club to express our strong support for the Pike River South Branch Restoration Project, spearheaded by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The inclusion of new stormwater infiltrating wetlands in this project is critical for our community's environmental health and resilience. This restoration project is essential for improving water quality and hopefully mitigating the risk of flashy and erosive volumes of water, which are pressing concerns for our stream banks. These enhancements are not just beneficial, but necessary to ensure a sustainable and thriving ecosystem. For Kenosha Country Club, the timely implementation of this project will significantly enhance the natural beauty of our surroundings, provide immediate recreational and aesthetic benefits for our members and our many guests that visit us every year. We strongly urge the board to prioritize and support this project, and we thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
Good evening. Craig Helker, 5503 Acorn Court, Greendale. I represent the Department of Natural Resources, and I have been lucky enough to spend my whole career as the Pike River biologist in many other watersheds. So I've worked for 25 years on the river. In that time, my job is to haul heavy equipment all over and sample fish populations. I've also been run over by my stream shocker, pulled my back more times than I can count, and have been lucky enough to work with multiple partners. Picturing standing in the north branch of the Pike River, when I first started, I didn't have this gray hair back then, looking up at the top of the banks that would be up by the molding. And Mount Pleasant's work cut those banks down, restored access for that river to get into its floodplain, and in that time, the biological scores for that river that started at 30 out of 100 rose to 60, 50, fair quality. Water quality improved immensely. It's just over the state standard right now for total phosphorus, and it's coming down. The south branch of the Pike River is listed on the 303D federally impaired waters list for total phosphorus. And it's these types of projects that bring down total phosphorus pollution and improve water quality. So I just want to express my appreciation for your past consideration and work and your consideration tonight. As I close out my career with the department, it's sort of like a campsite that you leave that site better than you found it. And I can't claim any of my work has done that, but it's the multiple partners that the department's been lucky enough to work with over the years that has improved my area of responsibility and the area we live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Hello, my name is Christy Heiser, 4116 12th Street, Kenosha, and I manage Root Pike Wind's Pollinator Patch program that helps connect the next generation with the native plants and pollinators that support healthy ecosystems and watersheds here in Kenosha County. And this program has a specific focus on the endangered rusty patch bumblebee, which is the first and only federally endangered bumblebee species in the United States at this time. While native bumblebees may not be everyone's top priority, they are pollinator powerhouses that are critical for ensuring that we have fruit, nuts, and seeds to eat. Historically, this bee could be found anywhere from Minnesota to northern Maine, but over the last 20 years, the population range has shrunk by 90%, and southern Wisconsin is really the last chance of hope in recovering this endangered species. The good news is that the south branch of the Pike River falls within a priority zone for this important pollinator, which is one of the reasons why the EPA and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are providing funding for this historic restoration project. In 2023, we found an active rusty patch bumblebee nest along the south branch of the partially restored area, which was a huge deal for those of us who are focusing on preserving this species. And the restoration of the south branch is bringing 246 acres of new habitat into the area, which will further support the conservation of this species. Finally, it's important to note that these deep-rooted native plants that support our wildlife also help infiltrate more stormwater runoff, prevent pollutants found on the landscape from entering our freshwater resources, capture more carbon, and improve the aesthetics of our community by providing beautiful blooms that last from May to October. Thank you for supporting the restoration of the Pike River South Branch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Uhas, and all the board supervisors, County Executive Samantha Kirkman, for allowing us to be here today. I know it's been a long journey. It's been 8 years for me, and so I'm super excited to be here tonight and hopefully put the icing on the cake with regard to this project.
Dave, could I quickly get your name and address for the record,
sorry.
please?
It's Dave Giordano, 6125 10th Street in Kenosha.
Thank you.
And this is my daughter, Anna. Same address. So I'm here to give props to everyone here for getting this project to where it is today. And the first prop I have is a water sample from the South Branch. And as you can see, it's pretty nasty. This was collected last year after a storm event. You can see all the suspended solids in it. I pass it around, but it's kind of gross. I don't even want to touch it anymore. So that just gives you an idea of the water quality that we're dealing with on a consistent basis. The project, as you know, really was born from a plan over 50 years ago from Sewer PAC that stated we have significant issues with the South Branch. Fast forward to 2013, it's my other prop. This is the Pike River Watershed restoration plan. It does exist, and we use it all the time, so much so the cover's blown off, and there's lots of tabs in it. And the one really crucial tab is the one that highlights the fact that this project is critical. It's so important, not only from a wetland restoration standpoint, but a water quality standpoint, habitat standpoint. It's really got everything in it. And so the reason it's so critical is we're taking the worst condition, and the aspiration in the plan is to try to take it to the best condition. And that's what we're going to do with this project. Probably the biggest thing that I think about as a father is, what are we leaving the next generation? And I'm not the first person to say that, for sure, but I think about it. And this is a project that, when completed, everyone can sit back and go, you know what? We actually did something that made it better for the next generation. So, I'm going to let my daughter, Anna, finish the props.
Hello, my name is Anna Giordano. On behalf of the next generation, I would like to give props to the following people for helping advance this South Branch restoration project. Chairwoman Uhas, who has championed the project and sought bipartisan support. Executive Kirkman, who found a new path forward to make the project more viable. Former County Executive Cruiser, who took up Root Pike Wing's request to engage with the U.S. Army. Former County Executive Cruiser, who took up Root Pike Wing's request to engage with the U.S. Army. Corps of Engineers back in 2016. Supervisor Gearston, Decker, Genst, and Nudo, who asked tough questions and challenged us to make the project better from a coast perspective. Andy Buller, who has helped two administrations try to implement this project since 2016. Shelley Billensing and Chris Walton, who have provided an exceptional review of the project costs. Supervisor Caro, who encouraged us to explore the DNR wetland grant that was recently awarded. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for taking on the South Branch and overcoming many of the hurdles with patience and professionalism. The Supervisors Burkhouse and Gray, thank you for helping others understand the project's value. The Planning Committee, Public Works Committee, and Finance Committee, who all voted unanimously in favor of this project last week. To all the stakeholders of the Pike River Restoration Plan, many of whom are here today, thank you for the incredible support and transformational project. To the Fund of Lake Michigan, who have invested heavily in the Pike River over the last 10 years, including significant funding for the South Branch design. To the DNR, thank you, Josh Brown, for helping the county secure the wetland grant. Brooklyn Foundation for your generous grant and your dedication to Kenosha. Thank you to all the downstream partners, including Hawthorne Hollow, UW Parkside, Jerry Smith, Pumpkin Farm, Carthage College, and the Kenosha Country Club, who provided letters of support. Finally, I want to thank everyone that is in here tonight to support a new path forward for this river. You have inspired Kenosha to restore the South Branch from a land liability to a community asset. Your vote in favor of this project will have an impact on Kenosha's environment for many generations. Let's go.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Are there any other citizens wishing to speak?
Aaron Shower, 5918, first place, Kenosha. I don't know how you follow that. That was fantastic. And so for myself, I am a local professor at a college. I do not speak for my employer tonight, so I won't say whom. But I'm somebody that studied natural resources for my entire career, and I have a master's in natural resources. One of the things that I've learned over my career, entropy is the law in natural resources. All things degrade. There is no saving money in this project, except for the path forward can reduce our long-term expenses. The current path increases our long-term expenses. And who pays most of those expenses? In my experience, a lot of times when things environmentally are not taken care of, it's us. Pay for it in our health. We have more doctor's visits. We have more problems. We have more cancer. We have more things that can make us sick. And so to me, that is one of the biggest important aspects of this. Let's make it better for the next generation. Let's make Kenosha a healthier place to be and to live. A healthier place to go fishing and eat fish, rather than eating fish that are eating bottom dwellers that are now making the fish toxic. I think that's the most crucial aspect. On another side, I live up near the North Branch, and the work there was fantastic. I go regularly with my family biking through that area and walking. I know many people that drive to go to that area to go recreate and enjoy it. What a wonderful opportunity we have. And I thank all of you for considering it.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to speak?
Hello, Ethan Allen, 2209 11th Street in Kenosha. I'm a high school teacher at Shoreland Lutheran. I was made aware of this project when I first started, and I have a degree in natural resources, so that was one of the reasons why they brought me on. There's always been flooding on the Shoreland campus. In fact, the baseball field is usually flooded because of that, and this was kind of one of the things that they were trying to be part of to control the wetlands and the flood control. One of the things that I noticed, and the last gentleman just mentioned it, the economic value of this usually isn't immediately apparent. It's something that kind of you have to build up on, and you don't see it for years and years and years. One of the things that really struck me is Parkside. I live right down the road from it. I jog every morning, sometimes in the afternoon. It's a wonderful place to be. It's always got dog walkers. It's a great place for tourism. It's a great place when people come to visit. I like to show it off. And I think that is important. One of those things that people want to actually come to. Fishing. I remember having natural areas where my father and my brother, we would go fishing all the time. Going out on Lake Michigan is very difficult if you don't have a big boat. We did have a big boat. We didn't go very far, or a small boat, I should say. We didn't go out very far, so we were kind of stuck within the land. But those were treasured moments. We also heard that people are talking about the future. I brought 2 of my students. They wanted to be part of this. I think that's important, that they actually, on their own, wanted to be part of this. Another student from one of my other classes, I didn't even tell him he was here. So that's kind of an interesting thing, that they actually want to be part of this, the next generation. So I thank you for this, and it's cool to be a part of it. I think that the next generation wants to be witness to that. So I congratulate you on your work, and fully support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Any other citizens wishing to speak? Any other citizens wishing to speak? Hearing none, citizens' comments are closed. Announcements of the chairperson. On your desks, you will find your new county ID. Please return your old ID to the clerk's office at your earliest convenience and start using your new IDs. Also, due to the large number of citizens present this evening regarding the South Branch Pike River agenda items, is there any objection from the floor to move Resolution 87, an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $2.5 million general obligation bonds and/or notes for waterway projects, and Resolution 88, a resolution to approve a plat plan and authorize the acquisition of the properties associated with the plat plan to the beginning of our agenda this evening. Are there any objections from the floor to move those two items to the beginning? No. Hearing none, that will take place. Thank you. Moving on to supervisor reports. Vice Chair Gaschke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just three brief updates from the past several weeks. First of all, I serve on the Joint Services Board, and I like to bring updates about that. Recently, just about a week ago, there was a new communication system that's been implemented. That is the trying to pull up the name here. It's the Emergency Services IP Network, or ESINet, and that transition was made successfully. Overall, very smooth transition, and really one of the major benefits of that is going to be to help the emergency services to better pinpoint where calls are coming from and to be able to route emergency services more effectively and accurately. So that was a positive transition and an update that I wanted to bring to you from the Joint Services Board. I also wanted to let you know that I recently attended a Business and Professional Coalition luncheon workshop at Carthage College. They do these fairly regularly, and I would encourage you, as your schedule allows, to attend these. But this particular one was about equity and housing development. As many of you know, housing is something that all communities all across our country are facing. And so that was a very interesting panel discussion. I do have a slide deck available from that, as well as a recording from that, and so I'll share that. I'll share that by emailing it out to the board afterwards. And again, I'd encourage you to hear what some of the community leaders and industry leaders in our area are doing to help alleviate the housing need. Finally, a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to represent Kenosha County at the NACO, National Association of Counties Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. I had the opportunity to travel with Gabe Nudo, one of our colleagues, as well as County Executive Kirkman. And we were able to not only learn during the workshops and connect with others from the Midwest or the Great Lakes area or from mid-sized counties like ours. But we were also able to connect with other colleagues from across the state, from our own state that were there, from Dane County, Milwaukee County, Sheboygan County, and other areas, and able to interact with some of our own neighbors and hear how they're solving issues that their communities are facing right here in our own state, as well as from community leaders across the country. We also had the opportunity as a Wisconsin delegation to go to Capitol Hill to meet with representatives and senators, and we were able to connect with staff from Scott Fitzgerald's office. We were able to connect with staff from Senator Tammy Baldwin's office, as well as Senator Ron Johnson's office. We were able to meet with our own Representative Brian Stile, Glenn Grothman, Thomas Tiffany, And so we were able to make some positive connections. A few things that we were specifically advocating for were to continue to protect the federal, state, local partnership for Medicaid funding. As you know, there's a lot of potential changes happening at the national level that could trickle down and affect us on the local level. And so we were encouraging our representatives on the national level to consider how that could affect us here on the local level. Also along those lines, we're advocating for continued improvement when it comes to bridges and roads. As you know, counties are really the main caretakers of bridges and roads on behalf of the state and the federal agencies. And so talking about how smaller communities like ours can be more competitive in accessing funding to be better stewards of the bridges and highways that we are tasked with caring for. So those are just a few updates from our time in Washington. If you have any further questions, any of us, Gabe, me, or County Executive Kirkman would be happy to fill you in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gaschke. Supervisor Morrissey.
I just want to give credit to Mayor Bogdell and the City of Kenosha for a fantastic inaugural event for St. Patty's Day. All of my constituents in District 9 are extremely pleased with the way it came out, so I just want to acknowledge, I think it was a fantastic event.
Thank you. Any other citizens, or any other supervisor reports? Seeing none, supervisor reports are closed.
County Executive Appointments, 30, Pamela Condas to serve as Director of the Division of Children and Family Services.
Refer to Human Services Committee.
31, James Hall to serve on the Human Services Board.
Refer to Human Services Committee.
We're moving to Resolution 87 from the Finance and Administration Committee, an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $2.5 million general obligation bonds and/or notes for waterway projects. This passed unanimously at committee.
Supervisor Gens.
Madam Chair, I move Resolution 87.
Moved by Supervisor Gens, second by Supervisor Nudo. Supervisor Gens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This initial resolution authorizes borrowing for the South Pike project. It is needed to complete the project, and this resolution will allow us to do that. The board had approved initial resolutions totaling $2.625 million previously. The combination authorizes for a total of $5.125 million, which is the cost of the project. The borrowing will occur over the life of the project. It passed unanimously at committee, and we ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gens. Any discussion on Resolution 87? Seeing none, this does require a 3/4 vote, so please use your clicker and indicate whether or not you are in support of the project or not.
Resolution 87 passes unanimously. Resolution 88 from the Public Works, Facilities, Planning, Development, Extension Education, and Finance Administration Committees, a resolution to approve a plat plan and authorize the acquisition of the northern and middle properties associated with the plat plan. This passed unanimously at all committees. Supervisor Meadows was excused from the Public Works and Facilities and the Planning and Development and Extension Education Committee.
Supervisor Brown.
Move to approve Resolution 88.
Moved by Supervisor Brown, seconded by Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Brown.
All right, well, thank you for the original vote. Now we just have to purchase the land, and so that's what we're looking for support to do here, to make sure we have the acquisition of the properties that are associated with the plat plan. So I'd ask you to support it.
Thank you, Supervisor Brown. Any discussion on this item? Supervisor Decker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to let I would like to thank County Executive Kirkman for bringing in new partners to help share with the cost and reduce the cost to county taxpayers for this legacy project, because that's what it is. I ran the numbers, and if I use my calculator correctly, the county share of the old cost or the old plan that was in our presentation packet, the county share was 38.7% of the project. And the new plan, the county share is only 20.7%. So that's an excellent cost savings for the county, and I would just like to thank the county executive for working so hard on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Any other supervisor comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 88 passes unanimously. If the audience, if you do not want to stay for the other board business, please feel free to leave. We do appreciate you coming out tonight.
I thought that's why they were here, for this
Yeah.
was coming.
I just wanted. Okay, Reggie.
Right, on to old business. Ordinance, second reading to required, ordinance 17, from the Legislative and Executive Committees, an ordinance to amend Municipal Code of Kenosha County, Chapter 2, Rules of the County Board. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisors Nez and Stocker were excused from the Legislative Committee. Supervisor Brown was excused from the Executive Committee.
Supervisor Morrissey.
Madam Chair, I move Resolution 17.
Moved by Supervisor Morrissey, seconded by Vice Chair Gaschke. Supervisor Morrissey.
The proposed rules build on existing rules and procedures, ensuring continuity and consistency in county governance. Accepting the rules as presented, with the exception of a typographical correction on page 16 in section 2.12, subsection 5, the last sentence, subsection 6, the first sentence, and subsection 7, the first sentence, changing 2.11 to 2.12. With that correction, these provide a clear framework for county operations, ensuring that all board members and staff, mainly the county clerk's office and finance, understand their roles and responsibilities, ensuring that board members and staff are held to high standards of ethics and performance. The proposed rules represent a good faith effort to balance interest and find common ground among the stakeholders. The proposed county board rules reflect careful consideration and collaboration of the executive and legislative committees and all supervisors who attended those meetings and provided insight and guidance, ensuring that diverse perspectives and expertise were considered. The committees incorporated feedback from stakeholders, including board members, to ensure that the rules meet the needs of the county. The rules codify procedures for public comment, ensure that citizens have a voice in county decision-making. The rules change the definition of a session to be a 2-year period, which is the term of our elected positions. The rules clarify that a supervisor must serve on at least one committee, and that the chair can only refuse to place a supervisor on at least one committee with the consent of 2/3 majority of the entire board. The rules establish the committee meetings and times with the ability to change those with the chair's consent. The rules clarify the board chair's role at committee meetings, which they are not a member of. The rules require that a fiscal note is required for resolution and ordinances that have a fiscal impact. The rules clarify when a supervisor can be excused from a closed session if there's a conflict of interest with that supervisor. The proposed rules streamline meeting procedures, reduce the risk of confusion and inefficiency. Accepting the rules as presented improves communication and transparency among board members, staff, and the public. The proposed rules align with best practices in county governance, ensuring that Kenosha County operates in a responsible and accountable manner, as well as ensuring consistency and fairness. By accepting the rules as presented by the Executive and Legislative Committee, the Kenosha County Board can ensure continuity and consistency, enhance efficiency and effectiveness, and support good governance and accountability. Approving the rules as presented prevents further delays and allows the county to move forward with implementing new procedures, and allows the county staff and attorneys to focus on other important issues. Approving the rules as presented demonstrates a willingness to compromise and find common ground, as well as promoting collaborative governance and setting a positive tone for future decision-making. I urge my colleagues on the Kenosha County Board to approve the board rules as presented, with the exception of unanimous consent for the typographical error correction as indicated, and approve these rules as approved unanimously by the legislative and executive committee members that were present. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Morrissey. Supervisor Balsky.
I have to wait to share my comment.
All right. Supervisor Gerston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would propose an amendment to the ordinance, and the amendment is a document that was sent to the county board by the Corporation Council Monday, and there's a copy on the desk, and if I get a second, I'll comment on my amendment. Thank you. I'm proposing amending 3 sections. Section 202, I'm proposing adding language that says if an identical policy is reintroduced, which this current policy permits that 4 times in a 2-year session, then it must be processed without delay. To be honest about this, I had sent a document out Friday that proposed changing this, so you couldn't reintroduce identical policy without suspending the rules, which would take a 2/3 vote. But I did hear from some colleagues and leadership of the county, and I decided to remove that as my proposed amendment and add this language without delay. Section 203, I'm amending that. I did attend several committees, including the Legislative Committee, and what I'm recommending there is that another procedure be permitted, which was discussed by Corporation Counsel. Jen actually brought it up when Legislative Committee was discussing part of this proposed draft that had been changed, which would have made committees advisory. All policy would have come to the board, even if a committee did not approve that policy. But we did want a procedure that permitted policy from a majority of the board to get on the docket. So this allows a majority of the board to submit a petition to the county clerk, and if we achieve a majority, then that would be put on the agenda. And then the last one would remove the ability to not allow a supervisor to serve on a committee, and however, it would permit, with the approval of the chairman, that county board supervisor to request to be removed. For example, if there's health reasons or some other personal circumstance, with the approval of the chair, then a county board supervisor would be allowed to either not serve on a committee, not appointed to a committee, or be removed from a committee. So that's my amendment, and I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gerston. Supervisor Balsky.
Thank you, Chair Uhas. While I will vote yes for these changes, these amendments, I find it extremely disappointing. We've been working on this 2 years, under 2 different chairs. We've had 5 committee meetings where we could have made these changes. And something as important as this, and something that could be as controversial, I just think it should have been done well before, the week before, or the Monday before we vote on it, to give people enough time to really understand what the changes are. So it's disappointing that this wasn't brought up beforehand, so it gave us enough time. But like I said, we've been working on this for over 2 years under 2 different chairmen, and I will vote for this reluctantly. I don't disagree with the changes, it's just in the manner it was presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Belsky. Any further discussion on the amendments? Let me clear the board real quick. Supervisor Morrissey.
I will not be supporting the amendment. There's certain parts of the amendments that I could support, so if the supervisor was interested in separating and making 3 different motions, I could support a couple of them, but certainly the last one on the inability to, or the ability to be removed from a committee. So the current rule as proposed states that every supervisor shall serve on at least 1 committee unless otherwise determined by the board chair, provided such determination is supported by 2/3 vote of the county board. When I read this amendment, I wondered why anyone would want to remove the authority of the county board when it deals with a duly elected colleague of ours. I will leave that to the maker of the amendment of why he brought that forward, but I will provide some reasons why I think this provision is a very concerning and unnecessary amendment. The ability of any supervisor to be removed or not serve on a committee and be at the discretion of the board chair undermines accountability and engagement by allowing a supervisor to opt out of committee service, reduces their involvement in county governance and decision-making. Without committee responsibilities, supervisors are less accessible and accountable to their constituents and less invested in county operations. The simple ability to state that we do not want to serve on a committee impedes collaboration and communication. Serving on a committee provides opportunities for supervisors to collaborate with colleagues, staff, and community members, which is essential for effective governance. Without committee service, supervisors may have fewer opportunities to communicate with each other, potentially leading to misunderstanding and conflicts. This creates inequitable workload distributions to other supervisors, creating an inequitable distribution of responsibilities. This amendment undermines representative governance. Committee service ensures that supervisors are informed about and involved in key issues affecting the county, which is essential for representative governance. Without committee service, supervisors may lack the expertise and knowledge needed to make informed decisions on behalf of their constituents. This amendment sets a bad precedent and creates a slippery slope. Allowing one supervisor to opt out of committee service sets a bad precedent and may lead to others requesting similar exemptions. If supervisors are allowed to opt out of committee service, it may erode the integrity of the committee system and undermine its entire effectiveness. Requiring a 2/3 votes of all members is a better way than relying solely on the chairman's decision, because it ensures that any decision has broad support from the membership. This higher threshold helps prevent decisions from being made without adequate consideration or consensus. With a 2/3 vote majority, decisions are more likely to reflect the will of the membership as a whole rather than just the chairman's opinion. This approach also encourages collaboration and compromise among members, leading to more informed and thoughtful decision-making. In contrast, allowing the chairman to make decisions unilaterally could lead to arbitrary or biased outcomes, potentially undermining the democratic process and the rights of minority members. By requiring a 2/3 vote, you ensure that the decisions are made in a more transparent, inclusive, and accountability manner. A 2/3 vote requirement prevents the chairman from pushing through decisions that serve as their personal interest rather than the county's best interest. A 2/3 vote requirement ensures that members' positions on key issues are clearly documented, promoting accountability and transparency. By requiring a public vote, the 2/3 requirement reduces the risk of a backroom deal and ensures that decisions are made in an open and transparent manner. I urge all of my colleagues on this board to vote down this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Morrissey. Supervisor Gearston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to Corp Counsel, the current provision of this Section 213 in this draft Let me give you an example. Let's say county board were elected, and there were, the chair had a 16-member majority, but there were 7 supervisors that were not aligned with the chairman. Would it be feasible for the chairman, under this draft proposed provision, to assign only 16 supervisors to committees?
Supervisor Geertsen, I suppose hypothetically that is possible. I think there are other considerations in the rules that factor into committee structure, but yes, theoretically, with the 2/3 vote, in theory, a board chair could refuse to seat the other members on committees.
Thank you. That was one of the main issues I had with this section when the committees reviewed this. If you do the math, if you appoint a couple supervisors to 3 committees, you can actually have the committees just made up by 16 supervisors. So that was one issue I had. The second, I don't think the arguments from the supervisor from the 9th hold water. We elect our chair, and we trust that chair to set the committees and establish the committees. So we already have that process. These rules already embody that process, and this would just continue that process by allowing the chair to make a decision, if requested by the supervisor, for that supervisor to not serve on a committee. And if there was some reason to not do that, then the chair could make that decision, just as the chair appoints the committee. So I believe that this is a sound amendment. I think the policies are better. I think this improves the policy, and I stand by the amendment. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Supervisor Geertsen. Supervisor Morrissey? No. Supervisor Gens?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really agree with Supervisor Balsky that this should have been done prior to now. We've had 2 years to go over these things. I don't have terrible heartburn over this stuff, as long as he pulled the first part, which was something I cared very deeply about. But just look how these rules, how this has been set out to be so political that would even be brought up by a supervisor. That a chair would play political games like that, that's very disappointing too. We're supposed to all be in this together, not splitting political hairs over these rules. But I also think through the chair to Corporation Counsel, since we have somebody that has an issue about one piece of the amendment, that we should take these amendments individually. I think that would be a prudent thing to do. It's just my opinion, but those are my comments. I'm disappointed that it came to having to have this conversation. I'm disappointed that politics was brought in the last statement, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Kirby?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I wanted to bring up 2 things about this motion. The first one, I don't agree with the first motion to amend, specifically because a lot can change in 6 months. I don't think that anybody on this board wants to bring frivolous things before the county board every 6 months. I do think that circumstances change, economic situations change, and I don't want to rule out the ability to deal with a problem as it arises. So that's an issue for me. And on the last one, when I was reading through the rules that we passed in legislative committee, the thing I liked about the standing committee rules was that I felt it served as a protection to ensure that board members were not removed for political reasons. We would have to have 16 county board supervisors go on record to take away the representation of a huge swath of Kenosha County in order to remove a county board supervisor. I can see situations where a supervisor might want to be removed, and if there are legitimate reasons, I don't think it would be an issue for us to vote in that manner if they desired that. But I will be voting no on these amendments.
Thank you, Supervisor Kirby. Supervisor Brookhouse?
Madam Chair, I don't know how this happened, but I didn't push my button.
Okay, I will clear that out. All right.
Waiting for a barn burner, yeah.
Well, I'm going to clear the board. Supervisor Gearston, would you like to rescind your motion, and let's take these up one at a time? Each amendment separately.
I guess a point of order to court counsel, if any of the, I'm just going to be open and transparent about it. If any of these three aren't approved, then I'm voting against the policy. I don't know if, knowing that, I don't know if we want to separate them or not. So your call as chair.
Well, I think logistically, it would be easier to debate each separate amendment.
I would like to...
But it's your motion.
I would like to keep the motion as the three. I would like to keep them as the three.
Vice Chair Gaschke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to Supervisor Geertsen, just to clarify, are you saying that if any of these three proposed amendments don't pass, that you'll be voting against the entire update to the rules? Did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Nudo.
Okay, I'm going to agree with Supervisor Belsky and also Supervisor Gans. We've been talking on this for, oh God, it's more than 2 years. And we had many meetings, many discussions, and we could not really come to an agreement on everything. So finally, we did come out to, or at least the committees, after many meetings, they come out to some kind of a consensus, at least to send it for approval to the county board. And now in this last week or so, we got 2 amendments that a lot of people are not, either they don't like it, they don't understand it, and some of this actually, I remember they were discussed prior, and we really did not put it, as I recall, when I was involved in that, we did not put it into the rules. So maybe, if it's so important to have it, maybe it should take a little more time. And so I'll make a motion to send back to committee to look at these amendments, whether we should put them in there or not.
Supervisor Nudo, there's already an amendment, a motion on the floor.
So we got to wait till we vote on that.
Okay, I will wait.
Okay. Supervisor Gans.
That should always be in order if he gets a second, I would think. So.
Was there a second?
I didn't hear
a
one.
second.
I'm just making a comment.
Yes.
It's not out of order for him to make.
Is there a second on Supervisor Nudo's motion? I'll second. Seconded by Supervisor Franco. Further discussion. Supervisor Morrissey.
I would hope we don't send this back. This has started long before I was even elected to the board here, and supervisors had every chance to come and make these. I don't even know that the 3 that were presented on the desk here are the same ones that were presented to us in the packet at Monday, but this is ridiculous to send it back.
Any other discussion on Supervisor Nudo's motion to send back to committee? All right, let's clear the board. Supervisor Gans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be voting against this. I believe that heavy lifting is done in the committees, and I don't think this could have been lifted any heavier. So I think that we debated this ad nauseum in committee. We spent all the time doing it. I am severely disappointed that a supervisor would bring amendments like this at the last minute for this. That being said, I would hope everybody here on this floor just supports it. I understand where Supervisor Morrissey's coming from, but we've put too much effort into this. So I'm going to support the amendments. I'm going to support it moving forward. And I think that while I would like certain things done maybe a little bit differently, we have to look at the whole. And I think this makes the board stronger, and it's the right thing to do. So we can continue screwing around with this, or we can just move it forward. It's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gens. Further discussion on Supervisor Nudo's motion to send back to committee? Seeing none? Roll call. Okay, roll call has been requested. If you're in favor of sending it back to committee, vote yes. If you're against sending it back to committee, vote no.
The motion fails. 5 yes, 15 no.
Okay, back to Supervisor Gerston's original amendment. Any further discussion on the amendment? Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none? Vice Chair Gashke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to just one more time urge the maker of the motion to consider breaking these into separate individual motions. That being said, I will not be able to support them if they're all bundled together. So I would just encourage the maker of the motion to once again consider breaking them up to garner further support for portions of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gashke. Any other comments? Seeing none, roll call has been requested. If you're in favor of the amendments as presented, you will vote yes. If you're against them, you will vote no.
The amendments pass 12 yes, 8 no.
Clear the board. Now on the original ordinance as amended. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, this is also a roll call. It does require 2/3. So if you are in favor of ordinance 17 as amended, you will vote yes. Supervisor Morrissey?
Amendments, do we need anything on that, or is that just through Corp Council?
I didn't hear anyone object, so I'm assuming that no one had a problem with that, and we'll simply fix that when we're finalizing it. Thank you, Supervisor.
Yeah. So again, on ordinance 17 as amended with Supervisor Gerston amendments, if you are in favor, you will vote yes. If you're against, you will vote no.
Ordinance 17 as amended fails. It required 16 yes votes to pass. So it fails 15 yes, 5 no.
On 17, yeah. Now we're on to ordinance 18.
Ordinance 18 from the Legislative and Executive Committees, an ordinance to amend Municipal Code of Kenosha County, Chapters 19 and 20, a Kenosha County Ethics Policy. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisors Nez and Stocker were excused from the Legislative Committee. Supervisor Brown was excused from the Executive Committee.
Supervisor Morrissey.
Madam Chair, I move ordinance number 18.
Moved by Supervisor Morrissey, seconded by Vice Chair Gashke. Supervisor Morrissey.
The ethic ordinance in front of the county board represents a good faith effort and balances the best interest of the employees, county supervisors, and general public, and I think find common ground among the stakeholders. The ordinance incorporates feedback from various individuals, attorneys, staff, and county board supervisors. This ordinance provides a strong foundation, establishes clear ethical guidelines that promote transparency, accountability, and integrity in county government. The ordinance, like all policies or codes, provides a framework for future improvements and revisions, allowing the county board to build on this foundation in the future if needed. This code demonstrates commitment to ethics and shows commitment to transparency. By approving the ethics ordinance as presented, the county board can take a significant step forward, promoting its commitment to ethics and transparency in the county government. This code sends a positive message to employees and constituents that the county board is serious about promoting ethics and accountability. This revision process started prior to me even being elected to serve as a supervisor for District 9. Passing of this ethic policy avoids sending a message that we're delaying progress and allows the county to move forward with implementing the ethics policy. The passage of this code can enhance public trust and confidence and provide a clear complaint process for filing and investigating ethics complaints, ensuring that concerns are addressed in a fair and timely manner that support county goals and objectives. The policy as presented this evening was approved unanimously by the committee members present at the legislative and executive committee meetings. After much discussion, I urge your support of the ethics policy as presented.
Thank you, Supervisor Morrissey. Any discussion on Ordinance 18? Any discussion on Ordinance 18? Seeing none? Okay, I figured as much. All right, there will be a roll call on Ordinance 18.
Ordinance 18 passes unanimously.
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know this is unusual, but I just wanted to take a moment to thank the supervisors, as was noted on the rules before. This has been a long process. I think we first started discussing this as we were getting ready to do the 2023 budget. So again, we've been working on this.
Your mic has to go on.
I apologize. I don't know how much of that you didn't hear. I'm sure none of you were disappointed about not hearing the lawyer. I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for the hard work, as was mentioned also with the rules. This has been 2+ years in the making. I think we first started discussing an overhaul of the rules, of the ethics ordinance when we were preparing the 2023 budget. I'd also like to thank Attorney Hall, who is present tonight, who's put in a great deal of work, as well as all of the individual supervisors who've contacted me over the past couple of years, providing input, feedback, and really suggestions that I think have strengthened this. I think this is a significant step forward for the county, and I just want to say how much I appreciate everybody's efforts on this.
Thank you.
New business, Resolution 86, from the Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Supervisor Daniel Gashke to serve on the Kenosha County Human Services Board. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisors Nordigan and Poole were excused.
Supervisor Franco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Resolution 86.
Moved by Supervisor Franco, seconded by Supervisor Kirby. Supervisor Franco.
Yes, this is a resolution to approve the appointment of Supervisor Gashke to serve on the Kenosha County Human Services Board. The Human Services Committee voted unanimously, and I ask for the County Board's approval. Thank you.
Any discussion on Resolution 86? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Resolution 89 from the Public Works and Facilities and the Finance Administration Committees, a resolution to approve a governmental responsibility resolution for urban non-point source and stormwater grants. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisors Belsky, Gray, and Meadows were excused from the Public Works and Facilities Committee.
Supervisor Franco.
Public Works? I'm sorry, that's me?
No. It's great.
Oh, shit, I'm vice chair, aren't I? Okay, got to move it. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Resolution 88.
89.
89.
Moved by Supervisor Franco, seconded by Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Franco.
Well, this is a resolution that the committee supported it, and I asked for the county board's approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Franco. Is there any discussion on Resolution 89? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 89 passes unanimously.
Resolution 90 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution to accept the Justice Assistance Grant license plates reader cameras. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisor Brookhouse and Morrissey were excused from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee.
Supervisor Belsky.
Move Resolution 90.
Moved by Supervisor Belsky, seconded by Supervisor Gens. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Sheriff's Office had applied for an award and has been awarded a grant of $18,757 to purchase deployable license plate readers, and this was from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. It was approved unanimously in committee, and I ask for your approval this evening.
Any discussion on Resolution 90? Seeing none, a roll call is required because we need a two-thirds vote. So if you're in favor of accepting the grant, you will vote yes. If you're against the grant, vote no.
Resolution 90 passes unanimously. Resolution 91 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution annual report, a multi-jurisdictional plan for Kenosha County 2035, the 2023 annual report. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Meadows was excused.
Supervisor Brown.
Move Resolution 91.
Moved by Supervisor Brown, seconded by Supervisor Brookhouse. Supervisor Brown.
The multi-jurisdictional committee met on March 18th and approved this plan for 2023. I'd ask that the board support it.
Thank you, Supervisor Brown. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes unanimously.
Ordinance first reading, 2 required. Ordinance 19 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, an ordinance amending portions of the Municipal Code of Kenosha County, Chapter 8.02. Ordinance 1 reading, Ordinance 20 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Charles R. and Arlene Wyrock, owner, Ashley Lee, agent, requesting a rezoning from C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District to C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District in the town of Brighton. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Meadows was excused.
Supervisor Brown.
Move Ordinance 20.
Moved by Supervisor Brown, seconded by Supervisor Decker. Supervisor Brown.
As was reported, this did pass unanimously at PDAC, and the town of Brighton did also approve it. So I'd ask for your support.
Thank you, Supervisor Brown. Any discussion on Ordinance 20? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 20 passes unanimously.
Ordinance 21 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Beeman Family Revocable Trust owner Lorraine Beeman agent requesting a rezoning from R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District to R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District in Town of Paris. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Carroll was excused.
Supervisor Brown.
Move ordinance 21.
Moved by Supervisor Brown, seconded by Supervisor Gearston. Supervisor Brown.
Again, this passed unanimously at committee. The town of Paris did also approve it. I would ask for your support.
Any discussion on ordinance 21? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance passes unanimously.
Communications, 79, communication from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the regular cabaret license, VRWM Holdings, doing business as Wilmot Mountain at 11931 Fox River Road, Town of Randall.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee.
Communications 80, a communication from the Public Works and Facilities Committee, a resolution to approve an agreement between Kenosha County and Kenosha County Snowmobile Club Alliance for trail grant distribution.
Refer to Public Works, Facilities, and Finance Administration Committees.
81, communication from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
82, a communication from the District Attorney's Office, a resolution to approve the 2025 Wisconsin Victim Witness Programs grant.
Refer to Judiciary and Law and Finance Administration Committees.
Claims 31, Alexis Caruso, personal injury.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
32, Jacob Koskinen, personal injury.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
33, Jacqueline Sem, general liability.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
The approval of the March 4th, 2025 minutes by Supervisor Gama.
Supervisor Gama.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Motion to approve March 4th, 2025 County Board meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gama, second by Supervisor Gens. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Motion to adjourn by Supervisor Decker, seconded by Supervisor Franco. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.